Okay, team. So here is the issue with today. I don't know what's going on with my computer. So instead of doing a meet, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna be posting a couple of short videos about what I was gonna be talking about today. So for math, it's easy for us to start with because all we have to do is start with this subject. We're going to be talking about solving word problems with read, draw, write, or RDW for short. Um, like I said yesterday, this week is just review. It's going to be all the things that we've talked about for the last 3 weeks, and you have a chance to review it before we take our first quiz next week. So, let's look at a word problem. Well, what is a word problem? Well, a word problem is simply put a math question that isn't written with numbers in a number sense. It's written with words and letters, but it can still have numbers in it. So let's look. I'll make one up right now. Let's see. Jane has 6 marbles. She buys 4 more. How many marbles does Jane have? Okay. I'll change that. Have now. There we go. So there's a couple things we have to do. In the read, draw, write method, the first thing we have to do is read the question. Jane has 6 marbles. She buys 4 more. How many marbles does Jane have now? The second thing we do is draw. Okay, so I'm going to draw how many she has in green. So she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jane has 6 and she buys 4 more. 4, 5, 6. So since she's buying, since she's buying 4 more, those words tell me that we're going to be adding these two things together. So now we've read the question, we've drawn what the question is asking us. Now we can write it out in numbers and solve it. So in yellow, I'm going to write 6 plus 4. And now we can solve. 6 plus 4 gives us 10. Okay. Redraw write is a simple 3-step process that we can use to help us solve questions. So let's look at one that's a little bit harder. This one is going to be a subtraction question. Camden has 13 gummy worms. He eats 6 of them. How many gummy worms does he have left? Okay. Yes, Camden, I did use for this example. Well, let's see. And now we're going to do our RDW. The first thing we do is R. We read. I'm going to use a different colored lightsaber. Camden has 13 gummy worms. He eats 6 of them. How many gummy worms does he have left? Okay, so now I'm going to add an extra step. I'm going to underline the numbers. And I'm going to try to find the word that will give me a clue as to what I'm going to do. Let's see. He started with 13. He eats 6 of them. Let's see. If you're eating food, do you get more food after you eat it or less food? Less food. Right. So that means we're probably going to subtract. So let's see. 1 gummy worm, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We're going to draw. And in blue, I'm going to draw. I'm going to cross off how many he ate. Okay. Now we can write it. 13 minus 6 equals, we can count our answer, or we can also number bond. And we end up with 7. Okay. When we're solving word problems, we need to do 3 things. Read, draw, and write. When we read the question, and look for numbers and clue words, like eat for the subtraction question or buy for the adding question. Next, draw. We draw a model, so like the dots I drew for the marbles or the squiggly lines I drew for the gummy worms, of the question. So for example, when I drew the marbles, I drew the 6 that Jane started with, and then I drew the 4 extra ones that she bought. Or with the gummy worms, I drew how many Cam had altogether, and then I crossed off the ones that he ate. And then lastly, you're going to write your number sentence and solve the question. And that's it. That's your short and simple steps for answering word problems. I hope this is helpful. If you have questions about the assignment, go ahead and reach out to me on Seesaw, and that will be it.